Hi, my dear students. Myself, Anu Shishidharan, Academic Director and Biology Faculty of Rankings Entrance Training Academy. I welcome all of you in my new video lesson. Today, I am going to talk about Plant Kingdom Part 2. As you know, the last lesson related to Plant Kingdom, we have discussed about the first group of plants in detail, that is algae. Dear students, today we are going to discuss about the second group of plants we can collectively call the Bryophyta or bryophytes. As you know, the bryophytes are the first group of plants to colonize the land. Is it clear? Do you know we have seen different types of algae and we understood most of the algae are aquatic, isn't it? When you consider the evolutionary point of view, bryophytes are the first group of plants to colonize the land. Is it clear? The bryophytes are considered as the first group of plants that have started life on land. Okay. This type of plants normally live in cool, shady, damp and humid places. Bryophytes are also called amphibians of the plant kingdom. Is it clear? Do you know why we can call it as amphibians of the plant kingdom? Why? Because this type of plants commonly live in soil, but they need the water as a medium for its fertilization. Do you know what is the meaning of fertilization? Yes, the fusion between male gametes and female gametes. In case of bryophytes, they need water as a medium for the transport of male gametes towards the female gametes. That is why this group of plants we can collectively call the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay. When you consider the plant body of bryophytes, the plant body is more differentiated than algae. For example, you can see the first plant over here, it is called Rixia. The second diagrammatic representation is another important plant named Markantia. When you go through these two different types of plants come under the category of bryophytes, its plant body is more differentiated than algae. Okay, you can see that the plant body is thallus-like. It may be either prostrate or erect. What is the meaning of thallus-like? It means the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structures, or the body is not at all differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Such type of undifferentiated plant body we can call it as thallus. Is it clear? The thallus, it may be prostrate or erect. In case of Rixia and Markantia, you can see that the prostrate thallus, which are attached to the substratum through specialized structures or multicellular or unicellular structures collectively called rhizoids. Can you see? Is it clear? I mean, the thallus may be prostrate or erect, which are attached to the substratum through specialized structures called rhizoids. The rhizoids may be unicellular or multicellular. The most important characteristic feature of bryophytes, the vascular tissues are absent. Do you know what is the meaning of vascular tissues? You are very familiar. The tissues responsible for the conduction of water, minerals and food materials we can collectively call the vascular tissues. I hope you might hear about two different types of vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. Such type of vascular tissues are completely absent in bryophytes. Is it clear? The plant body, they lack true root, stem or leaves. But in some cases, the root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structures may be present. Dear students, when you consider the plant body of a bryophyte, it is always haploid gametophyte. Do you remember when we have started the topic of plant kingdom, we have seen the process of alternation of generation. Is it clear? When you consider the life cycle of a plant, it consisting of two phases. Which are the two phases? The gametophytic phase and sporophytic phase. And we have seen this gametophytic phase and sporophytic phase, and it's actually showing alternate in the generation. That is why we can collectively call the phenomenon as alternation of generation. When you consider the plant body of a bryophyte, this is always haploid gametophyte. Is it clear? Dear students, when you consider this gametophyte or gametophytic phase is green, dominant, independent and haploid structures. When you consider this Rixia and Mercantia, in both cases the plant body is an independent green structure which is haploid. Do you know what is the meaning of haploid? Haploid means it's actually having half the number of chromosomes. We can represent it as n number of chromosomes. What is the meaning of sporophytic phase? When you consider the life cycle of bryophytes, it's actually having a non-green, recessive and dependent structures we can collectively call the sporophytic phase. When you consider the process of reproduction in bryophytes, it's actually showing different types of reproduction. In case of vegetative reproduction occur with the help of special structures called tubers and gemma. Do you know what is the meaning of gemma? You please go through this diagrammatic representation. This is the thallus of Mercantia. When you carefully observe the thallus of Mercantia, you can see numerous cup-like structures called gemma cup. Is it clear? Inside the gemma cup, some type of asexual spores are there which are collectively called gemma. When this type of asexual spores named gemma fall on a suitable substratum, what happened? This asexual spore germinated to produce a new thallus. In case of asexual reproduction, it is by the formation of different types of spores, and sexual reproduction is also occur by the formation and fusion of the gametes. We will discuss the process of sexual reproduction in bryophytes as part of its life cycle. When you consider the entire groups of bryophytes, it can be divided into two groups, liverworts and mosses. Dear students, the two examples over here, Rixia and Mercantia, come under the category of liverworts. Okay, but the mosses, it's actually having some type of advanced organisms. Look in next diagrammatic representation. This is a diagrammatic representation of a plant named Funaria. This plant come under the category of mosses. When you consider the mosses, you can see that its plant body is much more differentiated as compared to liverworts. Here you can see the root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structures. Okay, and this portion we can collectively call the gametophyte, and the portion seen above this gametophyte we can collectively call the sporophyte. Dear students, now we have to discuss in detail about the life cycle of a bryophyte. Dear students, you are very familiar. This is the plant body of a bryophyte. Do you remember? We have studied the plant body of a bryophyte is always haploid gametophyte. Can you see? It's a haploid gametophyte. Okay, what is the meaning of gametophyte? Gametophyte means it can produce gametes, the male gametes and female gametes. Is it clear? When you consider this gametophytes, it's actually having sex organs. The male thallus having the male sex organ called the antheridium, and the female thallus having the female sex organ called the archegonium. Is it clear? Antheridium is considered as the male sex organ, and it can produce the biflagellate anthrozoids or the sperms. Okay, here the anthrozoid or sperm is considered as the male gamete. Do you know the archegonium is considered as the female reproductive structure? It's actually having a flask-shaped structure. Okay, this archegonium can be able to produce the female gamete named egg cell. Is it clear? You just imagine when the antheridium becomes mature, what happened? The anthrozoid or the sperms are released in water. Okay, and the sperms actually move through the water, and when the sperm or the male gamete come in contact with the archegonium, what happened? The sperm or the male gametes enter into the archegonium and fuse with the egg cell. The process you are very familiar. This is called fertilization. As a result of fertilization between the male gametes and the female gametes, what will form? A diploid zygote will form. Is it clear? This is actually a diploid zygote. Okay, and this zygote, it can produce a multicellular structure called its sporophyte. Okay, the zygote, it undergoes continuous mitotic division to produce a multicellular structure called a sporophyte. Okay, when you go through a sporophyte, you can see that it's actually a long portion is called a seta and a capsule at the tip. During its maturity, what happened? Some cells of this capsule, some cells of this sporophyte that should act as spore mother cells. And the spore mother cells present inside the capsule, it undergoes reduction division or meiotic division to produce haploid spores. Dear students, whenever the capsule becomes mature, and what happened? The capsule becomes break down and the spores will come out. You are very familiar, all the spores are haploid. Why? Because the spores have developed from a diploid cell from the capsule. The cell we can collectively call the spore mother cell. So this spore mother cell undergoes reduction division or meiotic division. What will form? The haploid spores. Whenever the capsule it undergoes breakdown, what happens? The spores will come out. Is it clear? As a result of the entry of spores or the dispersal of spores, what happened? The spores will fall on different substratum. When the spores fall on a suitable substratum, what happens? The spores on germination to produce a new gametophyte. Okay, this is actually the life cycle of bryophyte. I hope you have understood the life cycle of bryophyte. Dear students, we have seen the bryophyta had been classified into two different groups, liverworts and mosses. I said we have seen different examples of liverworts. You remember Rixia, Marcantia, and one more type called Porella. All these plants come under the category of liverworts. And mosses, Filaria and Sphagnum, the two most important plants, come under the category of mosses. Let me discuss the differences between liverworts and mosses. Okay, first one, in case of liverworts, the plant body is thalloid. It means the plant body is not at all differentiated into root, stem, and leaf. The plant body is thalloid. But in case of mosses, the plant body is leafy and erect. In case of liverworts, rhizoids are unicellular. Do you remember what is rhizoid? Rhizoids are actually specialized structures seen on the thallus which help the attachment on the substrate. In case of mosses, rhizoids are multicellular. Dear students, in case of liverworts, the spore germination is direct. What is the meaning of the direct spore germination? You are very familiar. The spores germinated to form a new gametophyte directly. But in case of mosses, as you know, first of all, as a result of spore germination, what happened? A filamentous structure will form. That filamentous structure is called a protonema. That protonema will produce numerous buds on it. Each and every buds develop into a new plant. It means the spore germination is indirect in case of mosses. One more important difference, in case of liverworts, the sporophyte is completely parasite on gametophyte. Is it clear? But in case of mosses, the sporophyte is partially parasite. These are the differences between liverworts and mosses. Is it clear? Dear students, we have to discuss about the economic importance of bryophytes. Some type of bryophytes are economically very important. Let me discuss about some economic value of bryophytes. First point, you can see some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. One of the most important species come under the category of mosses is called sphagnum. This is the diagrammatic representation of the moss named sphagnum. The sphagnum is actually provide peat that have long been used as a fuel. Okay, and because of their capacity to hold water as actually using as a packing material for the transshipment of living material. Is it clear? Dear students, the peat is actually a product formed as a result of the decomposition of sphagnum. It's actually used as a fuel, and this particular peat having a specific characteristic feature. What is that? They are having water holding capacity. Because of the water holding capacity, this peat commonly using as a packing material for different types of living materials like plants or any other part of the plants during transportation. Is it clear? Mosses, along with the lichens, are the first organisms to colonize the rock and hence are the great ecological importance. Dear students, now we are believing that the mosses and lichens are the first group of plants that have started life on the rocky surface. Afterwards, what happened? The other type of plants have already been developed. They decomposes the rock and making the substrate suitable for the growth of higher plants. Since the mosses form dense mats on the soil, they reduce the impact of falling rain and prevent soil erosion. Is it clear? When you go through different types of liverworts and mosses, we can see that it's actually grow horizontally on the surface of the soil, isn't it? It's actually form a dense mat on the soil. So they can easily reduce the process of soil erosion. Dear students, all these are the most important economic value of bryophytes. So I hope you have understood all the concepts related to bryophytes. I request all of you have to go through this video lesson again and again for the better understanding of bryophytes. Okay, thank you. Have a nice